So today's theme is faith it till you make it. And you may recall we're always going to do, well, I shouldn't say always, you never say, you never know. Just like you never say never, you should never say always, because you just don't know. Anyway, for the foreseeable future, we'll be continuing doing one of the powers every month, because it's good for us to review. Every time we have something new to say about it. So this month, January, is faith, which is dark blue. What a surprise. Or royal blue, whatever you want to call it. So, faith it. So you heard people say, fake it till you make it. That's kind of like what people say. But there's something false in that, right? Fake it. Like, so if something, you don't know how to do something, you're just like, well, I'll just pretend I know how to do it until I get it. But here's the thing. What if we fake it? I mean, if you have half a sliver, and you probably have more than, if you have half a sliver of belief that you know what you're doing, well, then you can faith it on that half a sliver, right? So the first time you saw a client or a patient on your own, the first time you taught a class on your own, the first time you did whatever it was that you did on your own, it was probably the first time I did a memorial service on my own, or at all. There's that in your brain, you know, and there's also the part of your brain that's going, I got this. I know what I'm supposed to do. I just do this. I practice it. You know, they may even give me a certificate that says I know what I'm doing, right? Or they may be about to give you a certificate that says you know what you're doing. But there's still like that part of you, right? So this is where we remember the faith it, right? Because we don't need to fake it that we know what we're doing. We do know what we're doing. Just there's a part of our brain that's not quite there all the way, right? And so we faith it. We say, okay, I have the requisite training. I know what I'm supposed to do. The worst thing that can happen is that I say the wrong thing and I'll fix it. So why not? Why not step out in faith, right? So we don't want to fake it. Because that's saying that we don't know, or we don't have the inner wisdom to know what we need to know. Because when we rely on our inner wisdom, we usually do okay, right? So that's faith in action, knowing that we do have that wisdom within us to do it. So we want to faith it, right? And so, I mean, you're going to hear about Obi the dog a lot now. You expected that, right? So what Obi does when we're walking, you know, like from the stairs into the kitchen, which is his favorite place to go, that's where the food is. And he doesn't just like, all right, I'm walking down the thing to the kitchen. He's like, this is what Obi does. He's like, are you back there? Are you back there? Are you back there? Right? Because along with being a dog, he's got separation anxiety and all that, right? So he doesn't believe. So it's like just an example of, I was like seeing him do this yesterday. I was like, well, there's a lack of faith. Right? So just to think about how sometimes we're like, okay, I know where I'm supposed to go. You know, for Obi, it's the kitchen. For us, it may be something maybe a bit more illustrious in the kitchen, but you know, maybe, I don't know. So wherever you're going, right, you're like, okay, I'm going there, all right, that's good. But do you keep doing the Obi and going, wait, but what about, but, you know, are you with me? Are you behind me? Or maybe should I be going this way instead? Because that's really what he's doing. He's making sure that he shouldn't be going somewhere else instead, right? Whoa. When we make a decision, we need to go. When we know from our inner wisdom what's ours to do. Okay. The thing needs a rattling. Hold on. You probably didn't hear it, but I heard it. So you don't want to lead like Obi. You just want to know what's yours to do and do it. And sometimes we know what's ours to do, and it seems like it's not gonna all happen. Like, we don't know how it's gonna happen, right? We're like, there's so many things for it to happen, for us to be able to fulfill whatever destiny we feel is ours to fulfill. You know, you might get caught up in the monkey mind that tells you, well, you have to. Maybe the monkey mind sounds like one of your parents, or a teacher who maybe didn't give you all the credit you deserved, or whatever, right? Sometimes our monkey mind takes on the voice of a doubter in our earlier times. So I majored, my undergrad is in theater design, and so to get your theater major, you have to take a whole year of theater history, which is actually not nearly enough time to spread all the timeline of theater history into a year because, well, it started a really long time ago, right? But way back at the beginning of theater history, in the Greek theater times, there was a thing called the Deus ex machina, and that pretty much means the God machine. And what would happen in these mostly Greek tragedies, but sometimes comedies, is that they'd get themselves in a big mess, right? Whatever was going on, the characters would be in a big mess, and then the God machine, which was actually like a machine that made the person playing the God fly in, that's why it was called the God machine, would fly in, it's like a crane usually, the God, and the God would like fix the problem, like a fairy godmother, and that's became kind of one of the ways that plays would be resolved, was that God would come in and fix it for you. Now, there's a balance and wisdom happening here, because you don't necessarily want to spend your life just assuming that whatever crazy thing you get yourself into, like a Greek tragedy, that God's just going to fly in and fix it for you, right? Because that might be a little irresponsible. However, there's a part of faith that is very much like that, because when we know what's ours to do, we know that the God of our understanding, the Spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, that we'll have backup. And backup may show up as, the friend who says, oh, hey, I have whatever it was that you needed, that you were missing, and you didn't know that you needed help with. Or it may show up as the employer who says, hey, you need to go to that conference, I'll send you there on my miles. Or it may show up as, who knows, right? It can show up in lots of different ways. One of the most important parts of prosperity and abundance is remembering that God or Spirit, whatever you want to call it, is source and not any particular thing or place or job or paycheck, right? When we think that our good has to come from a particular place, we get stuck. So when we open up the faith doors and we say, my good is coming to me from all over the place in all sorts of ways and all the way, and I accept my good to come to me from any place. That's good, right? Then we open up to that God machine idea that Spirit can come and help us because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that will land softly, whatever we do. Or as they say, you get to the cliff, either you're going to fall or you're going to fly, right? So what if we believe that we're going to fly? What if? Not saying we should be irresponsible. However, when we do what ours is to do, we are being responsible. And then finally, I was driving around last night, and sometimes I just like to drive in the dark. I'm gonna put my headlights on, but just to drive around in the dark, I don't know, there's something that feels very like grounding in that experience to me, especially when there's like woods around, because that's like when I was growing up. Anyway, so I had the CD that was in the car, I had just like turned it on, and it was a friend of mine's music. His name is Victor Doherty, and he has this song, and I can't even tell you what the rest of the song is, but there's a line that talks about what we need less of here is greed, hate, and fear. We can agree. We need less of that here, greed, hate, and fear. And I was like, well, aren't they the epitome of lack of faith? Greed, hate, and fear. Because when we don't have faith that we're doing what we need to do, or that what we have is enough, or that we will get what we need is enough, then we need to cling on, right? Greed. Hate, when we don't understand things, and where we think that we need to be separate, then we translate into hate. And then, of course, fear. Once again, when we don't understand things, and when we don't trust that we're okay the way we are, then we have fear. And you can see fear showing up in lots of ways if you read the news. Whether it's about predicting earthquakes, which you can't do, but apparently some people are trying to tell you that you can. You can probability earthquakes, but you can't predict earthquakes. It's different. Or, you know, other things that are happening in the news, fill in your blanks. There's a lot of fear. But what if we responded to the fear with, I'm safe, I'm okay, what's happening with other people does not take away from my safety and my okayness. I'm not talking about like safety like your doors are locked. I'm talking about your safety as a like your sense of selfness. Because it seems like sometimes people feel afraid of other people because they feel like they might impinge on their own okayness. And nobody can impinge on your own okayness, only if you let them, right? Whoa. But it seems like a lot, and from my perspective, and maybe I'm just, you know, it's partly because I have that ministerial perspective in the world, it's like that's what's going on. Oh, you being different than me makes me not okay somehow, and that, just something to think about, right? So we can move towards just letting everybody be okay. Letting go of fear, because we believe and we know that what we have is enough, and what we will have will be enough, and that everything we need will come when it's time. Just like the God machine will show up at time. But when we walk, and you know, it's happened to most of you have heard the same example, so I'm not going to tell you all of them. And if you haven't, well, just go back and read the blogs or whatever. They'll come back around. But it always happens for me that what I need shows up when sometimes it's the very last moment. Sometimes it feels like the very last moment, right? That's the walk of faith, right? So don't fake it. Don't fake it. Just faith it. Whatever is yours to do, faith it. Trust that when you're standing up to do something that's new or different, maybe it's the same. When I stand up and do something, anytime I'm going to do something that's different that I haven't done before, I'm like, okay. I have the smarts, I have the wisdom, I have the spiritual, groundedness, whatever I need to do what I need to do. It's going to be okay. Stay meditated up, always a good plan. And that's all you got to do, right? You just keep going. And then after a while, you're like, oh, that was easy. Cool, let's do it again. And then you come up to another thing, and you're like, oh, okay, another opportunity to faith it. I can do this. Just because I haven't done it before doesn't mean I can't do it. Easy peasy.